Even the most experienced cavers can find themselves in dangerous situations when caving, causing panic, injury, and in some cases, death. John Jones was one such caver who would unknowingly experience one of the most terrifying situations a person could imagine. This is the haunting story of the Nutty Putty Cave incident.
26-year-old John Jones had been stuck since 9 o'clock Tuesday night.
Being stuck in that position for going on 23 hours now.
He'd gotten himself to a point where he couldn't back up.
The longer it goes, obviously, the more concern there is.
He can't move at all, and after a while, the muscles are going to cramp up. Rescuers very worried tonight.
On November 24th, 2009, 26-year-old John Jones decided to go caving with his brother and 9 other friends. John had fond memories of caving with his father as a child, but with his medical studies at the University of Virginia, a wife, a daughter, and a second child on the way, he now had little time for cave exploring. As a result, the group picked Nutty Putty, located near Salt Lake City in Utah, as it was considered a popular beginner cave at the time. John's pregnant wife, Emily, remained at the home to celebrate Thanksgiving with the family, while John and his party left to explore Nutty Putty. At 8 p.m., the group arrived at the cave entrance. It was a narrow entrance hole, measuring only 1.8 meters wide. After squeezing through, the group began to explore their surroundings. Nutty Putty Cave was well mapped in most of its traversable areas. The maze consisted of a number of rooms, all connected by narrow passageways. From the entrance, a rope would guide cavers toward the Big Slide, a large room sloped downward at a 45-degree angle. Despite being known as a beginner's cave, however, Nutty Putty had a reputation for people getting stuck. The cave had recently reopened to the public after cavers had wedged themselves in tight areas and required rescuing. These areas included the birth canal and the aorta crawl, known for being extremely narrow and difficult to pass.
We are just in the birth canal.
It's about that big in here.
Rescuers reported having to pull people out of Nutty Putty Cave several times per year. As a result, a permit requiring at least 2 experienced cavers per group was needed before entering the cave. John had acquired this. After exploring the main area of the cave, John, Josh, and 2 other friends decided to attempt the challenge of passing through the birth canal. John found what looked like the entrance to the birth canal and began to crawl through the tight passageway head first. As John inched forward, he became increasingly aware of the tightness surrounding him. It wasn't long before John realized he had become stuck with no room to turn around or inch back out. John recalled that the birth canal opened up to a small area where he could perhaps turn around and climb back out. With this in mind, John exhaled the air from his lungs and pushed forward, squeezing into an even tighter gap, measuring only 10 by 18 inches, comparable to the size of a laptop monitor. However, John had made a grave error. Mistaking the passageway for the birth canal, John had taken a wrong turn and actually crawled into Ed's Push, a dangerous tunnel leading to uncharted territory. When John inhaled again and expanded his chest, he was rendered completely stuck. Josh followed the passageway and witnessed his brother's feet protruding from the tiny gap.
The closest I could get basically was just seeing his two feet kind of eaten up by that little crevice. You know, I couldn't see his body at all.
Josh attempted to pull John up, but to no avail. Once Josh let go of his brother, John fell even further and became wedged in a small fissure upside down. One arm pinned above his head and the other arm forced beneath his chest. Realizing the severity of the situation, Josh returned to the surface to call for help, leaving John trapped upside down 100 feet underground. Rescuer Susie Matola first arrived on the scene at approximately 12:30 a.m., where John had been stuck for over 3 hours. Susie's smaller build allowed her to reach John relatively quickly, upon which she witnessed his 2 feet sticking out of the ground. She calmly reassured John that he would be out in no time, but knew that this would not be an ordinary rescue. The position of John's body, combined with the awkward rock formation, meant that simply pulling John out was impossible, and drilling the rocks would take way too long. After more rescuers arrived on the scene, they attempted to use a long rope fed through climbing cams drilled into the cave walls to pull John out by his feet. However, the friction of the rope against the cams was too great, and the system failed. Rescuers resorted to using a rope pulley system drilled into the walls instead. This pulley system had been utilized at Nutty Putty before in 2004, when there were two separate incidents of Boy Scouts getting trapped in the same area John was stuck. The pulley was successfully used to rescue one of the Boy Scouts. However, being only 140 pounds and 5'7" tall, the Boy Scout was significantly smaller than John's 200-pound, 6-foot build. Setting up the police system was a time-consuming task. Despite over 100 rescuers and volunteers working tirelessly, the confined space required them to carry each piece of equipment into the cave, one by one. Time was running out for John, who had been trapped for over 19 hours. Gravity fought against his body blood circulation. As a result, toxins began forming. His lungs began filling with fluid, and his heart was straining to pump the excess flow of continuous blood out of his brain. John started experiencing hallucinations, severe headaches, and difficulty breathing, causing him agonizing pain. Finally, after an arduous night of work, the police system was installed, and rescuers immediately started pulling John up. Each pull caused him a great deal of pain, so frequent breaks were taken between pulls. Rescue worker Ryan Schertz, who was closest to John in the cave, gradually began to see John's upper leg, chest, and face with each lift. Ryan saw a wave of relief start to wash over John's face as he began to feel his freedom. Hope was high. But then, disaster. The key bolt holding the rope near John's legs suddenly gave way, lurching all the rescuers holding the rope forward and sending John back into the crevice, seemingly even further than before.
One of the devices as part of that system failed, and Mr. Jones actually ended up falling back into the area where he had been stuck for so long.
Ryan suffered severe facial injuries and had to be replaced by his father, another rescue worker. Ryan's father attempted to call out to John, but only received shallow breaths in response. He attempted to tie another rope around John's leg, but got himself stuck in the process. After managing to wiggle free and replacing the key bolt, he switched with another rescue worker, who again tried to contact John. This time, however, there was only silence. A medical professional was called shortly afterward, just before midnight on November 25th, 2009. John Jones was pronounced dead of cardiac arrest. 137 exhausted rescuers left the site after 27 hours of fruitless work. After some deliberation, officials determined it to be too risky to retrieve John's body, and the decision to seal the cave was made. With the family's permission, Nutty Putty Cave was closed for good a week later, with concrete poured into the entrance, permanently sealing John Jones' body inside. A memorial plaque on the entrance marks his tomb to this day. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos and stay safe.